Hey everybody, welcome to episode 4 of the AskDAP show, where we answer your questions from the VW and Audi community. Let's get into our questions.
Brandon M. via email asks, I've been having problems with my Mark V GLI FSI, misfires. It's mostly noticeable in high gears, 3 through 6, but it is noticeable in the morning in every gear. At first I figured it was coils or plugs, so I bought new ones from my local VW dealer. When removing the old plugs and coils, I noticed oil on both the coils and plugs. It was a blown valve cover gasket. I bought a new gasket and replaced everything at the same time, thinking that this is what was causing the misfires. Still having misfires, and I had it scanned about a week ago. It showed misfires on all cylinders, and I had the codes cleared. The light is back on, and I immediately had it scanned. It's now showing misfires on cylinder 3 and 4. I really just don't know where to start as far as locating the problem. I do not have a VADCOM to run logs, and I do not know anyone that has one. Just me researching, I'm thinking either carbon buildup on the valves or possibly the fuel injectors. The cam follower looked fine, and I believe the PCV is working as it should. I removed the oil cap when the motor was running. It came off easily and ran horrible until I put it back on. Any suggestions would be greatly appreciated.
Brandon, the FSI misfire problem, or really any 2-liter turbo, always great to start with coils and plugs, and then obviously once you found that you had an oil leak, addressing that valve cover gasket leak is important. Now, once you go from there, misfiring on all 4 cylinders means it's probably not just a single cylinder problem, but all, and potentially it's really tough to say. It sounds like you mentioned 3 and 4, but then you mentioned all. If it's consistently on 3 and 4, then you most likely have injector problems. Carbon buildup is likely to not be responsible for your misfires, as carbon buildup usually only happens on cold start. Unless it's really, really bad and it's really built up, then it could potentially be caused other times. But most likely you have a 3 and 4 injector problem, or potentially a vacuum leak causing that, which would also cause misfires in a bunch of different places, but generally you're going to have a tough idle in that situation. Diagnosing the vehicle is definitely going to take more than just one thing, so you can try to replace the injectors, but to properly diagnose it, you will have to have somebody with a VADCOM really do logs and scans to figure out what's going on.
Felipe T via email asks, Hi from Brazil. I have learned a lot from your channel. I have a VW Tiguan 2012 2.0 TSI with 50k on it. It won't rev past 3,500 RPM, and it goes over 3,500 RPM, the EPC and rotation reduces to 1,000 RPM. It seems that the car cuts the ignition for a moment and starts to work normally until 3,500 RPM. The EPC light stays on until I turn off the car. I turn the car on again and it shows no problem, but then it starts all over again. The scanner shows code P0321. The dealer takes a long time to evaluate the problem. Please help me.
Felipe, the issue you're referring to in regards to it won't rev over a certain amount and the fault code you're referring to relates to the crankshaft position sensor, which is likely to be your issue. If you have a problem with the crankshaft position sensor, the vehicle will oftentimes not even start or run at all, and that's because if the vehicle engine doesn't know where the vehicle is in time, it can't really properly adjust anything or run properly, and it thinks there could be a timing problem. Now, if you have something and if you have that same issue and you've replaced your crank sensor and it does not fix the issue, you definitely need to look further into that. You probably have a timing issue. You need to make sure that the engine is still in time and you don't have any other problems going on.
Ulf via email says, I have a Mark 7 GTI, APR stage 1 with a catless downpipe, and I've been getting a lot of heat soak. What is your opinion to fix my problem? Should I get water meth or do some intercooler work like the Forge twin cooler? Thanks, love the new series.
Ulf, when you're talking about Mark 7s, obviously a great tunable car. When you're talking about water methanol injection versus intercoolers, they're both options for performance. For anybody who doesn't know, water methanol injection essentially is pumping highly atomized methanol fluid mixed with water into the intake manifold, which will cool down the temperatures of the intake track. Obviously makes it better for combustion, allows a lot more things like timing advance, as well as it essentially raises the octane of the fuel through all those things. Front mount intercoolers obviously are also a great option. They are definitely the best route to go with. Front mount intercoolers are something that's bolt-on, doesn't require a lot of crazy modification, and there's a ton of options out there. We're actually going to be doing DIY on a front mount very soon with a company we're going to be working with. Now, when it comes to water meth, my personal thoughts on that is it's really something that you wouldn't want to go with for the average person. It is definitely something that only, I would say, you know, the top 5 or 10% of people who really want to modify their car are going to get into. Gets a lot of concerns for, if you want to optimize water meth properly, it needs to be a new tune on it to optimize that for timing advance, to get you the most you can out of it. Now, if you do it without a tune, that's okay too. You'll still lower your intake air temps, and it'll accomplish kind of some timing advance by itself. But the big problem with water meth injection is if you tune it and the system you choose doesn't have fail-safes in place, and even if it does, there's potential for catastrophic failure if there's some sort of problem with the system, if the pump fails, if it runs out of fluid and the fail-safe doesn't work properly, and the engine is too far advanced on timing, you can cause some serious major damage with the engine, which is something that anybody who's considering a system like that should be aware of those risks. Thanks for watching episode 4 of the AskDAP show. We're outside our facility because it's a beautiful day. Be sure to shoot us an email with any questions you have, info@shopdap.com. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Check out what we're doing.